The government is pushing a radical and disturbing strategy to overhaul the asylum system. In its bid to speed up the deportation of immigrants, the Trump administration has changed the rules to allow what were, until very recently, unqualified attorneys to serve as immigration judges. Now, this approach is not just controversial, but also bound to have a profound impact on asylum seekers, making it harder than ever for deserving people to get the protection they need. I'm going to tell you what you need to know about this crucial development, and we're starting right now. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now as an asylum lawyer, well, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Let me know in the comments if you've got an asylum case pending, or maybe you're considering applying. And listen, I'd especially like to hear from you if you've been waiting for an asylum interview for multiple years. Let me know how long you've been waiting. With approximately 3.5 million cases pending in immigration courts nationwide, the Trump administration has presented an unprecedented solution to the growing case backlog. They've decided to deploy up to 600 military lawyers, or Judge Advocates General, or JAGs as they're known, to serve as temporary immigration judges. Now, this initiative is presented to the public as a necessary and pragmatic measure. So a senior White House official, speaking on the condition of anonymity, stated that the administration is exploring a variety of options to address the backlog, right? They claim this measure should be a priority that, everyone, including those waiting for adjudication, can rally around. However, there is a profound contradiction in this reasoning. The government justifies hiring new judges to address the backlog, but has simultaneously been actively reducing the number of sitting judges. In recent months, more than 100 experienced immigration judges have either been straight up fired or have resigned under what is effectively duress. Now, these actions have exacerbated the very problem the administration claims that it wants to solve. The situation is absurd. The government creates a judicial shortage and then presents a manufactured crisis as a justification for a radical solution. The deployment of military lawyers is not an isolated incident, but a component of a larger unified strategy. This strategy appears designed to punish a judiciary perceived as too independent. Now, the truth is that it seeks to fill a judicial vacuum with a new class of temporary judges. These judges may be more ideologically aligned with the administration's agenda, which prioritizes enforcement, outcomes, and speed over the traditional principles of due process. Now, this represents a fundamental shift. This strategy is already having a visible impact on people's lives. We've seen a decline in asylum approval rates due to a strategy that some of the judges who were forced out have said involved significant pressure to deny more cases and cut corners to adjudicate faster. Before Trump took over, the nationwide asylum approval rate was 52% in immigration court. However, this rate drastically dropped in the span of just a few months under the second Trump administration to a 36% approval rate. And asylum seekers at the asylum offices are almost certainly seeing significantly lower approval rates than in immigration court, but we're not sure because USCIS hasn't released this data in several years. Now, in any event, this downward trend is alarming, and this is not just a coincidence. It's a direct result of policies implemented to dismantle a system based on expertise and replace it with one that values enforcement at any cost. By the way, if you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss the insights that I share on this channel. Okay, the Trump administration is now pursuing new policies that affect the immigration court, devaluing specific legal expertise. A key administrative change made just before the announcement about the military lawyers eliminated a requirement that temporary immigration judges have at least 10 years of experience in immigration law. Now, the new rule allows any licensed attorney to be appointed as a temporary judge for a 6-month term. This is a problem. Look, asylum law is complex. The American Immigration Lawyers Association, called AILA for its initials, described it perfectly, stating that to expect fair decisions from judges unfamiliar with the law is absurd. They memorably analogized the situation to having a cardiologist do a hip replacement. You see, Judge Advocates General, or JAGs, are skilled attorneys with broad legal experience usually, but their specialties do not include immigration law. Their skills are focused on things like military justice, operational law, and contracts, not asylum law. And the training to be given to these new military lawyers, only about 2 weeks, is woefully inadequate. When I was an asylum officer, we received a full 6 weeks of training on how to do the job. And look, the job of an immigration judge is even more consequential than that of an asylum officer because immigration judges are actually issuing deportation orders. The idea that someone with only 2 weeks of training could handle this is simply ridiculous. They simply do not possess the direct experience to make life and death decisions on asylum cases. To be clear, the administration is not seeking new judges who meet the rigorous standards. Rather, it's changing the standards to allow for the hiring of the judges they want. Now, this pattern of sliding standards is not limited to immigration judges. A similar shift is evident in hiring standards for USCIS asylum officers. As of March 2024, the agency has lowered its entry-level requirements to allow candidates with less prior work experience. Now, this means that a person may now be hired as an asylum officer even without a master's degree or its equivalent in work experience, which was a typical requirement for such a position. Now, this is troubling. The asylum officer position is demanding and requires a mix of analytical skills, cultural competence, and a deep knowledge of the law. The devaluation of legal experience, coupled with the hiring of a workforce that may be less resistant to an enforcement-focused agenda, is another step in dismantling the integrity of the system. This is a system that prioritizes speed and political outcomes over the fair and impartial application of the law. It is not an act of adaptation, it is an act of deliberate re-engineering, and the result is that the rule of law itself is at risk. But look, even though the Trump administration is doing everything it can to deport people, and it is getting harder than ever to win asylum, it does not mean that it's impossible to win. In my law firm, we keep winning cases, okay? It seems like pretty much every day we receive a new notification about an asylum approval, and we're winning both the asylum office and in immigration court. So it's not impossible to win. Just have to work really hard, present a very strong case, and prepare extremely well. Preparation is the key. It's the most important thing you can do. Practicing for your interview or hearing is the single most important part of your entire case. Look, in the current environment, you have to work harder than ever to put together the strongest case possible, but keep the faith. It is still possible to win. If you're ready to take the next step and get help with your asylum case, then please call my office today. That number is 713-909-0401. And remember, we help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you live. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your asylum journey.